Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. I'm your host, Mike Briggs, and there's so many things going on in and around Fresno, the valley, the state, the nation, that we like to highlight and just let you know that these things exist out there and they're happening. And we have a friend that comes on every once in a while and updates us on issues such as epilepsy. In fact, this is that time of year where we talk about epilepsy awareness. Ed Crane, welcome.
Good to see you.
Epilepsy Awareness Day.
Yes, and it falls right around Valentine's Day, so it's an important time to get out and speak. Yeah, every year, this time of year. Epilepsy Awareness Day is an event that falls right on Valentine's Day, and it's organized to raise awareness about epilepsy and the impact it has on the individuals like myself who have epilepsy, our families, our friends, and the community and the world around us each and every day. Epilepsy affects every aspect of each individual like myself, our lives. People who are diagnosed with epilepsy. For many people who have epilepsy, there's a stigma that each of us face each and every day who have this condition. There are many myths about epilepsy out there that people hear and face each and every day, and I thought it was important enough to come out and as I try to each and every year to sit down and talk to you about it.
Yeah. I like to talk about stuff like this. I don't like when people, oh, he has epilepsy, and oh, don't say anything. No, let's talk about it. Let's look at the myths, things we don't know. People who have epilepsy lead pretty darn normal lives, it seems.
Yeah, our goal is to get out there and live our day-to-day lives, get out there and seek independence and do everything that we can. At the same time, we like to just make sure that the world around us is educated about the 3.5 million individuals, roughly 3 million adults, and 500,000 children who have epilepsy here in the United States.
I can understand the stigma. There's a lot of things that are stigmatized just because we don't understand them. We don't know anything about them.
Right.
And what are some of the myths that we don't understand?
Well, there are myths out there that epilepsy is a mental illness. It's not a mental illness. It's a physical illness having to do with the brain and the muscles in the body. And it's something that we'd like to make sure that people understand. And the way to do that is to get the word out about it. Mm-hmm. That's one of the goals at this time, and to do that, we normally get the word out through family and friends, and try and get the word out through public appearances such as this.
You've been here talking about Epilepsy Awareness Day maybe 6 or 8 years in a row. Here on Central Valley Talk.
Absolutely. And what I try and do then is make the appearance and then take the video and then share it on websites out there. And that the responses I get from that make it very important for me to know that we're getting the word out and just making a difference to the public at large.
Well, it's nice to have a friend, that can talk about this and can share it with us. To me, you're the most regular guy I know.
And that's something that also makes a difference. Getting the word out and talking about these myths. Another myth that I hear about out there is that epilepsy is contagious. Well, it's not contagious. Yeah. And putting the fire out with these myths that people hear or are fearful of is something that can help us number one, help people understand, and number two, spread out the true word about epilepsy.
Right. So it is what you call a neurological issue?
Correct.
Not a brain issue, not a infectious thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you're born with it, and there's no cure?
Well, no, there isn't, but there is medical treatment for it, and the medical treatment is, on one hand, helpful for many of the patients, but on the other hand, not all of the medication is helpful to all of the patients that have it.
So you go to the doctor and he tries this and tries this, so what helps you, and
Correct. What helps me may not help one of the other patients, and unfortunately there are a percentage of patients that none of the medications help. There's good news on one side for some of the patients, but there's bad news on one side for some of the patients at the same time.
Now, are there some support groups?
There are support groups out there, and it's easy to, what I recommend to people is there are a tremendous number of websites out there with information that you can look up under epilepsy support groups or look up under epilepsy in general. I recommend, and there are also emails and 800 numbers to look up where you can get information, and there are people who can be on the other side of some of these telephone numbers. My mouth is dried up a little bit, where you can be steered in certain directions that can be helpful for specific information that you need, whether it's on one hand being steered towards a medical professional or steered towards information about medications or, again, support groups.
Yeah. I ask about support groups because you come across a mom raising her kids, all of a sudden one of her kids has epilepsy, and to her it's all brand new. But to other people, it's not brand new. Other people have been through this. They've had kids and learned to deal with it in the schools and how to address the school and make sure the school's comfortable with it. There's a lot of things you have to go through, and it's important they know they're not the first to go through it.
Correct. And then there are many websites out there, whether you're on a Facebook website where people are talking to each other and bringing up subjects where all of a sudden you become a member of a specific epilepsy site, and all of a sudden you can see that questions are being asked that are the same questions you have on your mind.
There you go.
And answers, multiple answers from families that are experiencing the same issues that you're experiencing, and you see that you are being guided in directions that you never thought about. There are many, many, many resources out there and directions that all of a sudden you can be steered towards that can be very, very helpful. There is a tremendous amount of that out there.
Now, I want to see if I get this other shot up here. You've developed, or someone helped you develop, a way to address your epilepsy.
Correct.
And let's see if I get this. You have a service animal. He's down there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, down here on my left is my service dog.
And tell us his name and the background and how he helps you.
This is my service dog. His name is Zern. And along the way, after I had launched into epilepsy and I had gone through my path where I had even brain surgery performed, I happened to see a TV special one time, and they talked about service dogs, and that was something new to me. And yet they showed how service dogs had the ability to warn an individual in advance of oncoming seizures. And to me, that was enlightening. That was something that was phenomenal. Being given a warning 15 or 20 minutes in advance of an oncoming seizure was something that was fantastic. And I listened to the entire story about the organization that raised and trained these dogs. This was an organization in Pennsylvania called Canine Partners for Life. And I said to myself, I've got to contact this organization and find out more about these animals, these dogs, and what they have the ability to do. And I did contact them, and I felt that changed my life. I said, I've got to reach out and see if I can be partnered with one of these dogs for myself. I said, being able to always have a warning of an oncoming seizure would just make me more independent.
Mm.
And
it did make you more independent.
It did. I went through their process of filling out an application and waded through the process of being matched with a dog, and it's not a process that happens quickly. It's a process that took over a year to be partnered with my first dog, my first partner, and that first partnership was amazing. As a matter of fact, the first time I went over and went through their interview process, one of their dogs came over to me and rubbed his head on my legs after I was there for about an hour. And the gal I was interviewing with said she gave a signal to some people there that were there with them, and they brought over a mat to lay on the floor. They said, "We believe you've just been given a warning about an oncoming seizure."
Did you believe him at first?
I was flabbergasted, and I laid down, and I guess about 15 minutes later, I had a seizure. And I said, to get a warning that far in advance and not then have to worry about falls and injuries,
yeah.
I said, this is definitely something I needed. And I can tell you, this is 3 dogs later,
yeah.
that this is my third partner.
Wow.
Over approximately 20 years. And it's made the difference in my life that I can tell you that researching and seeing if a partnership with a fully trained service dog is right for you, mm-hmm. because it's made the difference in all my life. It's given me back my independence. That's the difference it's made in my life.
That's a great story. We're almost out of time. I want to get back now to the epilepsy. It's important we talk about this. We know what it is. It's not anything for any of us to fear.
Correct.
And we should treat people with epilepsy how? Just like regular old folks?
Independent. And, epilepsy is something that you've got in common with others out there. I recommend that if you have epilepsy, that there are medications out there that can be helpful to you. If you are having trouble, consult with your doctor to make sure that you are getting the proper medication, because there are many of them out there. I also recommend that you are in contact with one of the epilepsy organizations to seek any help or assistance that they can provide you, because there are many organizations and they're all out there they're ready to provide assistance in many, many different ways, and they have the ability to do it. What I'm saying is that you're not alone, and we're in a time when this is the ability to reach out and seek help and assistance any way you can. And there are people like myself and others out there who have the ability to make life easier for you.
Well, each year on Epilepsy Awareness Day, I learned something brand new. I didn't realize that there's not one medication for everyone. Different people would require different medications, and you just don't know what that is until you find it.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
So you got to be willing to stick with it and get to your doctor or get to the doctor you need to get to and figure it out.
You're not alone.
Okay, good for you. Any resources for people, any place you'd send them to, a website or a phone number?
Well, epilepsy, the epilepsy website's a good one. The CDC, Centers for Disease Control epilepsy website is a tremendous website. This is one that I have right here. It's called Epilepsy Data and Statistics. Has a lot of information for you. There are so many different websites out there that I guess what I'm trying to say is that you're not alone in this battle, and any way that you have questions, I know even myself, I am somebody who every once in a while has a question about epilepsy, and I'm always on the computer looking, or I have so many different friends out there now, part of the epilepsy community, and we're talking to each other about it, helping each other. That's what epilepsy, International Epilepsy Day is. It's a time to reach out and help each other.
Yeah. Maybe if you're a local and you want to know more about it, they could go to Facebook and just type epilepsy, and they'll find some groups and
Correct.
discussions. And I think it's good and healthy to talk about it. You don't want it to be a mystery to everyone. You want people to know
alone.
about it and say, hey, this exists, and people have it, or just okay. So,
You're not alone in this battle.
great. Ed Crane, I'm always happy when you come.
Definitely.
Anything else? We cover it. We'll be back. We'll be back next year around Valentine's Day for Epilepsy Awareness Day. We do it every year now. It's a great tradition here at Central Valley Talk. We'll be back with more Central Valley Talk right after this.